How can you make your money work for you? I was getting ready to go out. My hair's all wet. And I was thinking on that subject and what one of my mentors taught me when I was in New Zealand. It's a pretty badass tip when I was like 19 years old. And he said, because if you think about it, most people, they work for money. And then a handful of people figure out how to make money work for them. I think we all get the point. By the way, you see this shirt? It's my new t-shirt line, and it's reversed, so you can see it, only read it in a mirror. Run after what you want while you can. Today's the youngest day of your life. Anyway, back to this, how to make money work for you. So he said to me, he said, Ty, there's different levels that people are at financially. He said, the lowest level is when you are, well, the actual lowest level of making money is when you're not making any money, when you're like unemployed. So besides that, the lowest level, he said, is when you're working for somebody else. He said, then you're using your time for somebody else's dream, right? I just realized that looks like it's a little, I don't know, shrine. It's really not. It's just a painting in there. Number two, that's the lowest level. You're working for somebody else. You're using your time to fulfill somebody else's dream. And it's okay, by the way, to be an employee sometimes. That's how you learn. I was an employee under guys like Joel Salatin. That's how I learned stuff. But he said level two is when you're self-employed. He said, and my mentor was a guy named Gary Townsend in New Zealand. He said, number two is when you're self-employed. And when you're self-employed, you're using your own money usually, and you're using your own time for your own dream. So that's a step up. At least you're using your time for your dream. He said level three is when you're the employer. When you're the employer, you're using, so a self-employed is just when you're a solo person. When you're an employer, you're using your money, but other people's time and energy for your dream. So you got a business, you got 4 or 5 employees. He said a level above that is an investor, right? Because an investor uses their money, they invest it, and then the employer uses it, builds the labor pool, builds the company, and you don't do anything and your money's working for you. But he also said there's one level above that. This is the highest level. And this is what you see, you could call it a capitalist, but I don't like to use that word. It's too loaded with emotions. People are like, forget capitalism, it's horrible. So let's call it, the smart investor. And the smart investor uses other people's money and other people's time for their own dream. And when you look at guys like Warren Buffett, that's what he's doing. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying everybody needs to be a billionaire or anything like that. But there's a principle, and I follow what Abraham Lincoln said. Hold on, I gotta get ready to go. But Abraham Lincoln said, I learned from everybody, even if it's what I didn't want to do. So even if you don't want to be, an industrialist or some crazy thing like that, you can still learn the principle of how to make your money work for you. And that highest level is when there's a lot of leverage. Now, what is this concept? There's different rules and thoughts about leverage. Let me not go in here. It gets dark in there, closet. There's leverage where you borrow money to buy a house. So you're using the bank's money to fulfill your dream of owning a house. When you use your credit cards, you're leveraging, Capital One's credit line, and they get investors to put money in, and you're doing it so you can do whatever you want to do, travel or start a business. Let's get a little lights on in here. So there's always leverage in most people's life at a certain level. I'm sure you have some leverage, but let's take it a little bit further. And in fact, I'm going to do a talk on this. There's 8 things that I've found. Still looks dark, huh? There's 8 things that you have to know if you want to make your money work for you. So how do you get to this higher level where you're not just in the rat race? And I think most people never get out of the rat race. I think it's okay to be in the rat race at the beginning. You learn stuff, you get some little bit of skill and stuff, but man, you don't want to be grinding it out. You see people, unfortunately, grinding it out at 67 years old. You get tired at that age. So there's an old saying, it's good to bear the yoke in your youth. Meaning when you're young, you could do lots of stuff that you don't want to be doing. So if you can start to get, even at a young age, if you're watching this, I get more lights on here. Even at a young age, if you can get, there we go, capital, money working for you, you can have a huge, huge upside in life. And so there's about 8 things. I'm trying to keep these under like 8 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you a few of them. And if you click I'm going to put a link here, and I've been doing these live talks pretty often, and about 20 to 25,000 people come on. So if you click the link, it'll take you to my website. It'll show you the exact time you can watch it. It'll translate it into your local time, and it's free. There's no credit card, there's no gimmicks, and I'll be going more in depth on these 8 ways, some real specific hands-on things you can do. So click that, or it might be below or above somewhere. So one of the things that you can do, the first thing that I found is just an awareness. Like some people, there's more light over here. Some people are literally not even aware that there's jokers out there that don't work nearly as hard as everybody else. Oh, here I like basketball. Got different Jordans. Some of those were given to me. Those are Chris Paul's new ones. I got to go to hang out with Chris Paul recently. I didn't go to dinner with him. I don't know if I need that in the background. Put shirts. There we go. So, you know, there's an awareness level that there's people doing big things out there, and you have to participate in that. And if you're continually for the rest of your life just a pure wage earner, you're really going to miss out. You're going to not take advantage of leverage and labor and leverage and capital at all. The second thing you have to understand is to make money work for you, you have to understand ABC, the 3, they call them the factors of production. If you grab I didn't go to college, but if you grab a college economics textbook, you'll see there's the 3. It's land, labor, capital. So in the modern world, you know, land represents who you know, it's positional advantage. Labor represents your skill, deep domain expertise, and those around you. And then the third thing is capital, which is cash. So that's the ABC. You have to understand really how to leverage all of those and make all of them. Because when people say make money work for you, a lot of them are only talking about C, but you have to make A and B work for you, or the whole game falls apart, you know. And so the next thing, what are we on? Number 3? So number 3, you have to be a collector. And so what happens is a lot of people, the way they understand things is like a leaper. So completely broke now, you read one book, you get one stock tip from a friend, and you leap into financial independence. And that doesn't really happen. You know, Alan Nation, my second mentor, used to say, Ty, it's better to creep forward than leap forward. So if you collect, aka accumulate, sure, it takes a little bit longer, but it's safer. You know, if you're come to the Grand Canyon and there's a bridge a mile down the road, or you could try to jump across the Grand Canyon with your car, maybe you're Evel Knievel, maybe you could figure out how to do it. But if you take off, you're probably going to land in that ditch and you're going to be dead. That's about a mile down. I had a friend with me. He almost fell down off the cliff. There was a place where there was no guardrail. He's trying to show me how he used to be a gymnast. And he literally tripped and he was like at the edge going, you know, you like put your arms out. And so I walked over to the edge. I was like, dude, did you almost fall off? He's like, no, it wasn't that far down. And I looked and it was like 2,000 feet down. So that's what a lot of people do. Financially, it's like they're always in the leap mode. So boom, they leap, and 9 times out of 10, they hit the bottom. If you take a car, drive a little further, creep down the road, turn, take the bridge, it's so much easier. And the bridge represents, you know, avoiding bouncing around. So financially, some people, I know a dude, it's like every time I talk to him, he's got a new scheme to make big money. And I'm going, dude, why don't you just stick to one of them? Charlie Munger said, you don't need an amazing idea to become financially independent. He said, you just need a good idea that you pay attention to. You know, I was like, why don't you just pay attention to one of those ideas? You've told me 48, dude. Just one. Pay attention to it. Follow it deeply. And so that's 3 or 4. Let me give you the rest because I want to keep this under 10 minutes. It's my little 10-minute video blogs I've been doing. So there should be a link. Click it. It's going to take you to my website. Do it early. It's live. You can ask me questions. Try to get in early. So that's why I say click, don't procrastinate. A lot of people, these started out, the first one I did a while ago had like 1,000 people. Now it had like 20, 25,000. So it's pretty cool. People from 70 countries getting some value from just these free ideas that I like to share, things that mentors taught me. So click the link. I'll see you soon. If you have any questions ahead of time, send an email to Ty Lopez. If not, click the link and it'll show you in your time zone when to show up. Okay? Talk to you soon. Oh, by the way, I would forget this. Leave a comment below. I want to do a little survey. What are you? Have you been trying to leap or creep forward? Which one are you? My natural tendency before I learned this principle was to leap. I was always, what's the next big thing? Next big thing. And I was never making money work on my behalf. So, what are you?